Welcome to Lacy Live. I feel like I've gone through this evolution. It was Sean and Lacy Live, then it was Lacy and Stacy Live, and now we're at like Lacy and Dexter Live. But Dexter's sleeping, so he's not very alive today. But I'm super excited to be here with all of you on another episode of Sean and Lacy Live on this lovely, lovely Wednesday. I'm also super excited for the content tonight. It's easiest way to start creating content. As most of you know, if you've been longtime viewers, this is like actually my Achilles heel. This is what I'm not good at. This is what my team has to like twist my arm to do. So I'm really excited to have a little Q&A tonight, see if I can't answer some content questions. And I have a special guest that I'm going to bring on with me to liven up the show a little bit and answer your questions about content. I'm super excited. But before we get started, who do we think's on production tonight? Producing the solo show for Sean and Lacy Live. Any guesses? I see y'all trickling in. And of course, the best part, I mean, we're giving away money this week. Just as we do each and every week, we are giving away this week $400 because on Lacy and Stacy Live, we didn't have a money winner, but I will tell you, we had lots of content winners. I had so many of you messaging me after last week about how much you needed to hear the content about hiring. So I hope that you guys took some of that information last week, wrote it in a book to utilize it when you're ready, or utilizing it now to grow your team. So, we have some guesses. Josh, somebody says, I bet it's James. Got a couple guesses in there. Well, there's Josh. So I think he just gave you process of elimination. Producer, show yourself. Show yourself. Show
Sure
yourself.
yourself. Sure yourself. What's up? What's happening?
So, as you might have guessed, my special guest tonight is the man, the myth, the legend himself, James Lewis.
Happy to happy to be here. I feel like it's been a while actually. I think this is my first Sean and Lacey live that I produced this year in 2024.
I
I
know it
think this is the
has been
first
a
one.
while, right? I
Yeah.
feel like, I feel like, and it's weird because usually the rotation feels a lot quicker where we have producers, but you're right. It feels like it's been a long time. I don't even know. Did we have you in December? I don't remember.
I think maybe once in December. One time I actually had to have Robert take over for me.
See,
So
I know.
he took over. So yeah, it's been a while, but it feels good to be back.
Well, it's good to have you back. And hey, you know what? Robert has been a good little like learner. I think that you've taught him how to overcome all of the potential pitfalls that happen with technology. And I know that we had a couple hiccups, but he's been doing a great job on producing. So
He has
he
been.
was good to take over for you. He's got his sounds down, he's got the flow down. I think we're good to go. So
He's been
well,
crushing it.
crushing it. All right, guys. So now that you know James is going to be the special guest tonight, put any of your content questions in the chat. I'm watching the live chat over here. We want to see what you want to know about content. Where do you get hung up? Where do you need help? Where do you need ideas? Why aren't you creating content? Let us know so we can help you get started. There's no better time than now. And you know it. You're right. James's birthday was on Monday, right? James,
Yes.
you had your golden birthday. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even know what a golden birthday was for the longest time, basically until like this year. So yeah, I turned 29 and my birthday was on the 29th. So I guess that's a golden birthday.
All right, golden boy. So anything that you learned in your, like, what's the number one thing in your 29 years that you feel like you have learned that you would like to tell our audience?
Man, there could be a lot to be. That could be a whole Sean and Lacey episode. But I think
Ooh.
the first thing that comes to mind is it was 27. Actually, when I turned 27, that it just hit me a different way. That I was like, I am an adult. There's no going back to like being a kid. Like I am now crossed over into like adult land. Like I am here. And I think turning 29, I used to always think of and look up to people that were older than me, like much older. I was like, man,
Like
they're like,
me.
yeah, yes, like you. Yes, like you. When I'm like 10 years old, I'm like, man, these people are like in their 20s and 30s, like they're so old. Um, and now I feel like one of those people where,
Right.
so I will say that having gone through 28, 29 years of life, life is short and there's a lot of good in the world. There's obviously things that aren't so great. So if you can fill your days with the positive things, um, that's probably the better route just because our time here is short. So spend it doing the things, spending it with the people that you love the most, just because it goes by so quick.
I love it. I love it. And I'm curious, y'all. James says that he felt like he was an adult when he turned 27. First off, I got to ask though, was that the year you got your house? Was that like the big, was there like
It
a reason? Because I'm like, man, I feel like I had that moment when I was 18 and I moved out, but you're like, that was 27. Tell me, like, was that, what was, there had to be something in there, no?
I suppose so. I mean, I turned 27 in January, and then it was that same year actually. Now that I
Uh,
think about it, but it wasn't until August
Got it.
that I got the house. But yeah, I don't know. It just hit me. People always ask, "Well, what's it feel like to be such and such age?" For whatever reason, that year it was like, "Yo, I'm an adult now. Like, there's
I love
there's no
it.
going back."
No going back. Hey, everybody,
Yeah.
tell us in the chat at what age do you remember going, wow, I have reached this part of my life where I am an adult. Like there is like all those years behind you, like stuff got serious. When was that for you? I want to know in the chat. Yeah, we got Skip says he's
25.
25. Yeah. So that must have been around that age, huh? When student
Yeah.
loans hit. 53 and still waiting. I love that, cat. Yep,
I love it.
61 not there yet. I love it. We have a lot of young bucks now. No adults on this show, baby. I love it. See,
Right.
everybody has little different ages of when they really felt that. So, I think, yeah, mostly in their 20s. Everybody kind of felt that way in their 20s. People are right up
Mhm.
there. I love it. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, I still don't feel like an adult, but that's how it goes, right?
You have a young spirit. That's one of the things I really admire about you. You have a young spirit, and I like you just have the like a young vibe to you, and I think that's one of the keys to staying young, even as
Yeah.
you know get older.
Y'all hear what he's saying, right? He's like, even though you are really old, you have a young spirit.
No,
Thanks, James. Moving on. Let's talk about
Pat already said Lacy is 32. It's a
That's right.
fact.
I am 32. We all
Check her
know.
license.
That's right. All right, so let's go. I know we have a couple of announcements tonight. Outside of the fact that we're giving out $400, what do we got for announcements tonight, James?
We have, and our team has been behind the scenes putting a lot of this stuff together. We have the All Star VIP podcast experience that's coming to Indianapolis this February. The NBA All Star game. It's held once a year, and this year it's hosted here in Indianapolis. And so we actually have the opportunity to partner with the Pacers, who is the host team of this weekend, and so we get a chance to kind of do a very unique uh, type of deal with podcasting. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, and the great thing about the podcast experience is it's not just for this weekend. I mean, we're going to have some other opportunities that are coming up, but this one in particular is just great because you get the experience of what's happening there, right? All throughout the weekend. And so I know a lot of y'all are hyped about this All-Star weekend. I'm still like, am I going to like I feel like it's going to be a fun weekend. I don't know a lot about it. I didn't realize it hadn't been in Indiana for a couple of years. So this is a big deal. So if you want to join us in the podcast experience, let us know. We're really pumped about it. And we also have something else going on that same weekend. We have
Yes.
our Meltzer and Sean and Lacy VIP dinner at the Capitol Grill. super excited. I know that there's going to be some other people. Who else is coming, James? I know that we've got some people that are still, we're waiting for RSVP, and then we've got somebody super special right on that flyer.
Yes, so as you can see, we have Meta World Peace, formerly known as Ron Artest. If you're a basketball fan, you definitely know who this is. He's someone who actually I've met him in person before at another one of actually you might have been in the same room as well. But we've got Meta World Peace. I believe he's actually an NBA champion. So he's one of the best defenders of in NBA history, I would say. Also have Marshall Falk, who's going to be making an appearance. There's going to be
Love
a
him.
few others that are rounding out this roster. So I'm really excited for this VIP dinner. The last time we had one in Indy, the energy was just incredible. So it's going to
Yeah,
be
I'm
even more
super
hyped up.
excited. I love it. It's going to be super great. So you can reach out to Jane at blackdiamondclub.com if you want to join us for the dinner. And of course, we're all here always to answer all of your questions. But super pumped for that. Do we got anything else? Oh, yeah.
We
We got
also have
SRP. Sales,
SRP.
revenue, and profit coming up in Dallas, Texas. That workshop is coming in. We'll be here March 15th through 16th. We've got David Meltzer, Ryan Stewman, Sean and Lacy, and of course, the wonderful Michael Port, who I'm so excited to see make his debut comeback when it comes to Book Yourself Solid content on our stage. Listen, if you are having any any like issues around sales, your revenue, your profit, you want to see changes, you want to make it bigger, you want to amplify it, you want to make some tweaks, there's no reason that you shouldn't be coming to this workshop. Like sales for me and Sean, I think is one of our favorite workshops because we really get to break down the psychology of how people buy and get to teach you like really actionable things that you get to take away that weekend. And I know the other people on that stage, these people that are in this lineup, man, they're going to give you some massive takeaways. And this could literally change the trajectory of your business, right? I mean, I've seen that happen so often where you just tweak one thing in your sales strategy, one tiny thing can make all the difference in the world in your ability to convert and serve more people. So, man, if you can just take away one little tweak, it would all be worth it. So, you should join us.
Yes. We got some people who are signed up for it. I'm super excited. I think I'm most excited about hearing Michael Port talk just because he's like the man, the myth, the legend, I guess the inspiration for Sean and Lacey. So I'm really
Right.
excited about that.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're gonna talk about content, but I gotta tell a little James story.
All
So
right.
we have these, we have the DJI mics that we love so much. And they're the wireless mics, you can use those when it's on your phone. You can use them just to record content by itself. You can hook it up to a camera and get them to record. And so I was utilizing them over the course of the week because we had a lot of things going on in Well Infused, and I was recording. Those are them. Show it. These are before I tell the rest of the story. These are probably one of the most important and best tools, recording tools that you could have in your arsenal, right? I mean, if there's any one thing that we would have you get, it would be those microphones. They're portable, they're compact, they're durable. the,
Very
the
durable.
audio, like super clean, and they're so user friendly. They're so easy to use. And on top of that, you can record like hours and hours and hours and hours of content without having to offload the audio, which I also love. So they're super amazing. Don't we have those in our storefront, James?
Yes, we do. Yep. They actually
If
came out with a second version of these, but yes, the OGs are in there.
Oh, the OGs are in there. Yeah, we will have. Can somebody go to the Sean and Lacey storefront where James puts all of that and grab that link, please? Specifically, I know it's on our storefront somewhere, so we get the right ones. But yeah, we absolutely love those. They're worth every single penny. I promise once you guys start utilizing those, they're great. Brooklyn wants to know, can you plug them into USB Lightning Pro camera? Yes.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
What's the cord? Is that little cord is a USB-C?
Yep. So these come with actually three ways to connect to devices. So one would be just like a headphone jack, which works for most like DSLR cameras. It also comes with a lightning port. So if you have an iPhone, you can plug it in there. And then also the USB-C, which allows you to plug it into Android phones or a computer that uses USB-C.
Awesome. And Matt and Brooke are asking, can you use them for podcasting? Do you think the quality is good enough?
It definitely can. I mean, this is a great portable solution. So if you're on the road and on the go and you need to capture good audio, then this is definitely going to be better than shooting with just your phone. So it definitely can.
I actually did a podcast recording today with the amazing Tamika Taylor. She had me on her podcast. It was so much fun. And I noticed that she actually had that clipped to her shirt. So I don't know if she was utilizing it actually as recording for the podcast audio or if it was for additional clips. But I noticed she had that. So that's also something that you can do. We talk to you guys about that all the time. Like, your life is content, right? So oftentimes you can just clip that to your shirt and go off and record a bunch of things. So that takes me back to my story about James. Oh, don't think I'm not going to tell it. So
I know where this
anyway,
is going.
we're utilizing these great tools. As I'm just going off on tangents here. I was using that specifically, that microphone. I had clipped it to some of our nurses, our amazing nurse practitioner, wonderful, amazing trainer, Elizabeth from the Noblesville Clinic. I wanted to capture her talking to patients because she's just flawless when she speaks to them. And I wanted to utilize that content to create scripts. So I just had that connected to her and we were utilizing scripts. So I wanted to get those call recordings. I put it into my computer and I'm like going through the audio and there's like audio from 2 years ago still on these things. So I hit play to listen to it and I'm like, what is that? And I hear, oh yeah, yeah. I hear a basketball dribbling. Yeah, I got that one. Then you go this way, you go right, you go left. That was the audio, y'all. It was James playing basketball talking into these microphones. So I'm like, what in the world is this? So, well, great story continues on because there's like 10 more audio clips. All of a sudden, so I'm like, this, like, is he playing basketball in all of these? The next one I click on, he goes, wow, it's a really sunny day out. And, I just dug up this area and I put the fertilizer down and I'm super excited because the fertilizer is going to get some sun. Wait, how should I say that? The fertilizer is going to get some sun. It's like speaking about lawn. Oh yeah, there's Stacy. We were listening to him and he's talking about the lawnmower and he's mowing his lawn. I was like, what in the world? It was some
Oh.
classic James content. And if you don't know about James, he's got some YouTube channels around clearly all sorts of things, specifically yard work. But I was cracking up at the content that was in there. But it was just a reminder, that you can create content around anything, right? People are out there searching for things about fertilizer and how to have a healthy yard and a great lawn and keep their grass green during the winter. And I don't know exactly all the content James was recording that for, but I'm sure it was for things that people are searching. And it's things that James has to do anyway, right? And so it was hilarious. I was cracking up. Stacy was cracking up. We were listening to all the James content that he didn't know he left on there. It was so good. It made my day. Um, but it's a true testament to you can create content and get started creating content on anything. Fertilizer, basketball shots, you name it, you can put it on those microphones. So what do you guys say about that, James?
So much to say. The main thing I'll say, if dark skinned people like myself could blush, you would see it. You would totally see it. I feel embarrassed, but To your point, I would definitely say yes. To a lot of those things. One, anytime you're already doing something, you can just turn the camera on, or turn on the microphone and record it. It You can repurpose the content. And one of my mentors, my online mentors, Myron Golden, always says you're already doing life, so you might as well just turn the camera on and
Right.
capture content. That's probably one of the easiest ways to get started creating content is just by documenting what you're already doing, even if you sound absolutely crazy or if you never posted at all. Like that's also an example. I've never posted that basketball stuff.
It was so good.
So you can create content if you don't like it, you don't have to post it, and then you
Right.
just give the microphone to someone else, and they'll get a kick out of listening to all your clips.
It was really great. Well, the other thing I loved about it though, just because there's a lot of lessons built into there, when you were talking about the fertilizer and the
Mhm.
sun and the grass, like you literally out loud said, "Oh, I don't know how to say that. How am I gonna say that? How should I
Mhm.
say that?" And you tried a couple of different ways to actually articulate what you were trying to get across, which I also think is important because you weren't like, "This one shot has to be perfect. This one audio clip has to be perfect." Once you have the right people on your team, and have the right editors, you can clip that stuff out and splice it all together to make one great piece of content, right? And I think a lot of people get stuck on trying to get it perfectly and put all that pressure on them. And then the
Mhm.
reality of it is it never gets done, right?
Absolutely, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, because once you're recording, it can always be edited. That's the beauty of editing. So if you have your stuff recording you, your camera or your phone recording, you don't have to get it all done in one take, and that honestly relieves some of the pressure. I think of just thinking it has to be all smooth through one take. But yeah, you can always edit. And I see a question from Dan Lyons. Does the mic record and store audio? So yes, on these little devices, it actually has some internal storage. And so you can obviously send the signal to your camera or your phone, but it actually can record directly on here. And then there's also a USB C port where you can plug it into the computer. That's how Lacey was able to listen to all those clips. But
And
great
I think,
question.
hey, James, do you have the link to the storefront? Can you put that in? Can you capture that real quick? Or no, can you
Yes,
not see that?
I can see.
If
I
not,
do.
just text it to me and then I can snatch it and put it on the chat for everybody. But one of the things too, yeah, Dan, that's a great question. What I love about that, like I said, it's so user friendly. If you want to think of it this way, the microphones almost work like an SD card. I mean, they store
Mhm.
information the same way. Obviously, it's a little bit more sophisticated than that. But when you plug it, the USB C into the microphone and just plug it into your computer, it opens up just like an SD card, and you can see all of the individual audio clips. You can hit play, you can rename them, and then you can download them and utilize them for later. And again, it because audio, there's no video attached to it. The great thing about it is there you can put a lot on there. The storage capacity is large. So that's why, even though we had tons of phone calls on there and things that I recorded, I still had so much room to do more recordings. Even though James's old content, lawn content, basketball content was still living on there, there was still a lot of space. So that's also what's nice about this, because you could almost go through your entire day with that clip to your shirt and capture content for 8 hours, right? Obviously,
Yep.
that would be a pain in the tush to sift through later down the line, unless you had somebody specifically like time stamping where you said great things so they could go back and review it. But it really can house a lot of hours. Yeah. Brooklyn's saying she thinks it stores 15 hours of audio, which is killer because you don't feel pressured to go back and offload everything every single time, which I think is also important.
For sure. Yep, absolutely. I'm actually
Yep.
curious to know how what your experience was using that in the Well Infused office. I know you were using that. to record some content there. But Dan also was asking, going to do a tutorial on how to sync the audio to the video. Otherwise, my videos will
Mhm.
look like the old dubbed kung fu movies. I know exactly what you're talking about too. So actually, the if you have the microphone, this is a transmitter. If you have the receiver connected to your camera, it does the syncing automatically. So as long as you have the two synced up and connected, then you don't have to do any of the overdubbing of the kung fu karate movies. But if you wanted to have basically separate audio, just kind of as a safety track, sometimes we record on the mic on the transmitter just for redundancy. If we're recording something like we want to make sure that we get the audio from the source, then we'll do that. But
Right.
I'd be more than happy to show you how to do that. But the main fix is just having the two connected, one to the receiver to your camera, and then the transmitter on your talent.
Yep. The other thing I love about those microphones is they have the clip and then they have the magnet.
Yep.
So sometimes too, like especially I wear like a lot of silk dresses and stuff. And if you clip with a microphone, oftentimes it can crinkle the fabric or ruin the fabric. The magnet makes it super friendly to any kind of material that you're wearing, so you don't ruin your clothes. And so you can put that pretty much anywhere with that magnet. It doesn't have to clip to a collar. It could even go down farther for people that have hair brushing over it, all sorts of things. It literally is the best tool. Like I cannot tell you guys enough. If you're going to start doing any kind of content, the easiest way to get started is number one, get these mics. Number two, hook them up to you. And just like James said, you're already doing life. Let's start capturing some things that you do on the daily, whether it's some things that are, you're passionate about, whether it's you during work where you're talking to people and you just want to capture answers and things that you say to questions people have throughout the day. There's so many different ways that you can utilize this without expending additional energy and effort to capture and create content, which I think is so important.
Yes.
Yep.
One thing I want to come back to, because we're on the topic of starting to create content. I think a lot of times people who maybe haven't started creating content have a few roadblocks that prevent them from doing so. And while we've been talking a lot about audio, and this is the rabbit's foot part of it.
Ah,
It's like a windscreen. But and we're talking about creating video content, but really there's three mediums to create content. We all know what they are. Obviously, one is video, the second is audio only, and then the third would be text or written based content. And so you kind of have to understand yourself and kind of play to your strengths, finding the point of least resistance, especially when getting started. So for someone who's listening to this and they're like, "Man, like I know I should be creating video content, but I'm terrified to get on camera or I'm too intimidated by all the technology." But maybe you're a really good writer or you're able to tell stories through text really well. That's a way that you can start to get the ball rolling. And there's platforms that that type of content does really well. So
right.
also don't think that you just have to align with video content. There's two other mediums that you can start creating content in.
Yeah, I love that. That's so important. And I think too, it's really funny. I've been watching a lot of Instagram influencers and accounts that are going viral. Sometimes, like if you're worried about video, there's ways that you can do content without ever showing up on camera, showing your face, right?
Yes.
Where it's just like overlays on other photos or other videos where you don't have to be in it. The reality of it is though is most of us are in a service-based business, right? And because we're in a service-based business, like unless you're trying to make money off of affiliate marketing of, teas and coffees and products, you could do it that way. But when you're in a service-based business, you have to figure out a way for people to connect with you. They
Hmm.
need to connect with you because we need to build that whole know, like, trust component. And so while writing and blogging and emails and other mediums are great, at some point you need to put yourself out there and get yourself on camera, right?
Hmm.
Even if it's starting off with something super easy, you may feel a little bit uncomfortable, but starting off with an easy question that you can answer, or doing something that you already do all the time so naturally. We want to get you out there so people can connect with you. That's what creates visibility. That's what creates connection. And that's what creates conversions in your business. That's how you
Hmm.
get to take care of more people, right? Especially as a service-based entrepreneur. So I just want to encourage you, while we can start off little itty bitty steps, the ultimate goal is to do something like this. And I say it all the time. I mean, James can tell you horror stories of trying to get me in front of the camera, how much he had to chase me around for a long time, right? To just
Yes.
get little bite-sized clips, because I do not like this. This is not my jam. But I've had to learn to figure out how to enjoy it and be comfortable in it, because it's part of my job. It's part of my ability to connect with people, right?
Hmm. And one of the most important things in that is what you just said, finding a way to enjoy it, or finding some of the content types that you enjoy. And I think there's people on here who have seen some of your cooking content, like your stories with your
Mhm.
cooking. And for everybody, like Lacy can cook. Lacy can definitely cook. I mean, everything that she makes. I'm somewhat of a picky eater, but
Somewhat?
I will. I'll just say I like what I like. I like what I like, and
Yes,
I usually stick with
true.
that. But I always try something that Lacy has made, and it's always really good, even if it's usually not the dish for me. But people love
Uh-huh.
that content that they get from you when you're cooking.
Yeah, it's true, and that's one of the things that, I've had people tell me, is they can tell when I'm doing things that I love. So you also
Hmm.
have to remember, just because you're behind the camera, behind the lens, it's still an all watching eye. It doesn't lie, right? People can still see through that. They can tell if you're forcing yourself to talk about things that you don't enjoy, to talk about things that you're uncomfortable with. So you also have to be really careful to not always listen to what other people tell you you have to do when it comes to content. You have to do a lot of what actually resonates and is in alignment with who you are as a person. Because
Hmm.
people notice, and people will say, like, "Oh, I can tell, when you put that cooking content out, I can tell how much you love that. It comes with so much ease," right? Of course, because it's something I'm passionate about. And so that's just a reminder. That's why when you're doing life already, that's the stuff that goes viral. That's the stuff that people love, because it's truly part of who you are, and people connect with who you are, not necessarily what you're trying to portray, right? And I think that's super important.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We've got a
Anything
question.
else? Oh. Yeah,
We got
what's
a
better, live video, or can they all be pre-recorded? And if it's pre-recorded, should you go through the effort of adding captions?
So maybe asking a couple follow-up questions. So if it's live or pre-recorded, I mean, there's a couple different ways. Like here, we're live on YouTube. I think this creates a unique experience to be able to interact with Sean and Lacey live, where there's comments and there's feedback. You can't really replicate that through like pre-recorded, but for the most part, having videos that are edited that you post on your accounts where you're making content for your audience, maybe even explaining some of the problems that they might be facing. Yes, that definitely can be pre-recorded. Is it worth creating the captions? I would say yes, because a lot of the videos that people consume are consumed without the sound on. If you
Yep.
think about times where you're in the grocery store or somewhere, you don't want your phone audio on, like you're watching the video without the sound on, and so having the captions there helps you to be able to still consume the content.
I love that your example was like when you're in the grocery store, it's just trolling around with the cart, watching videos down the
I know.
produce aisle. Like,
I was the first
I
thing
hear
that
you
came to
though.
mind.
It's true.
That's
It's
the first
true.
thing.
Like, literally. And I would say, yeah, I'm with Brooke on this one. Even if I'm in a space where I can listen to the audio, I typically just am in the habit of reading the videos
Mm,
so much that a lot of times I'm like, oh, I could turn this up if I want. I just forget because I typically always read them as well, and so I think a lot of people are conditioned for that, for sure. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that. I only read videos for sure. So that's why that's so important. And lives are really great if you can get people viewing at that time. Um, but you have to make sure that that live converts into a video with captions, right? Otherwise it's not, you're not going to get as many viewers as you could have. And so you don't want to miss out on that opportunity as well. Hmm.
mhm.
Yeah, I like it. Any other questions? We got me and James here. What you got? Ooh, what are some apps to use for content to make reels and TikTok videos with words overlaid, like what Sean and Lacy use for theirs?
There's lots now. There's no shortage of apps to help you with that. A couple of the main ones that we use, the first one being Descript. So if you think
Hmm.
of the word description, but just the Descript part of it, that tool alone can do a large majority of your content editing and repurposing. Basically, it will transcribe your video front to back with really high accuracy, and allows you to edit the video by editing the word doc, like a word document. You're editing the words, and obviously you can just copy and paste to a different project, and then have a separate video, like a shorter clip from, say, even this hour long um, YouTube live. In fact, that's actually one of the things that we do.
Hmm.
And you can also add the captions to that. So Descript is one, CapCut is another. CapCut is a free platform actually that allows you to do some really interesting, more advanced video editing effects and stuff like that. And then if you search in your phone's app store, like captions, like I think someone mentioned the captions app. That's another one that can help you do it. And there's also AI tools now where you can upload a long form piece of content and it will automatically find the short clips
Mm.
from the long form piece of content without anybody having to edit it. It's not perfect, but if you're just looking for a quick and efficient solution to repurpose a long podcast or video, then those AI tools can be helpful.
Is Descript DEE?
Just one E.
One E. I'm it's Descript, Dan. There we go. Perfect.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah, that's we've been utilizing that for a long time. And I think once you get the hang of them, they're pretty relatively user friendly, right? Easy to use.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
See, and I think like for the longest time, I mean, I remember when Sean and I were first doing podcasts. Actually, that was when Sean was doing podcasts solo. And some of it was just audio. And that alone, it was so hard to utilize editing tools to just even do the audio component. Nowadays, everything's so easy. You could take a couple tutorials, you could look on YouTube to learn how to utilize it. And I mean, it spits out stuff relatively quickly, and looks professional. So there's a lot of options out there for you guys to get this content out and have it look like the Sean Lacy content with all of those captions and things on top of it. So don't be scared of checking those things out and testing them out. I mean, it really can make your job a lot easier. And like you said, most of you are all reading those videos anyway. So if you add that component onto all of the content that you're putting out, now we've got more visibility than we would have without it, which is also very important.
For sure.
Where do you get your content ideas from when you're out of ideas? I've tried looking up chiropractic reels on Instagram, but I haven't had any luck other than ASMR videos.
That's
Um,
a good question. I would say if you have for any business, any service-based business, like you can ask your clients, ask the people who you're working with what what things they want from you specifically.
yep.
You can just ask, just poll them. I always like creating a list of questions that people ask me all the time. So even some of these questions that are being asked on this live are ones that I've been asked before. So that's a great indicator that this is information that people want to hear. And so if you create content around that, then it has a good chance of resonating or helping your audience?
Yeah, I think super important too because and I love that. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like let the people, let your ideal client drive the content. I mean, that's ultimately what we're always trying to do, right? Is listen to their needs and desires, listen to their problems, and provide them with content and solutions. But also not just needs, desires, and problems, but passions. Don't forget to pay attention to their passions because if you can speak into their passions, showcase some of their passions, connect with them on that stuff, that's also great content as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, ask them like, what would you like to see more of? What kind of questions do you have? And maybe you don't even ask them directly. Maybe you just heighten your awareness into what people are talking about or asking you in your day to day like service, right? And people will
Hmm.
ask you the same stuff over and over. That makes the best content because it's not just your active clients that are thinking that, it's everybody else that's a potential active client that thinks about that stuff too. So there's lots of ways to derive and draw out content from your current clients or patients. And then I also think you can mix in a little bit of some of the stuff that's going viral. Like, right, I think I saw somebody say that whole like, we're chiropractors, of course we blah 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 blah, right? Like, there's that kind of stuff out there, but here's I am taking an Instagram course right now. One of the things they say is you don't want to build a platform just on viral content. Why? Because usually that will take you farther and farther away from your ideal client, right?
Hmm.
So, very important for y'all to hear. Viral content is great. Again, if you're selling affiliate type of products, but you also have to remember that viral content means that there's a lot of people that will be viewing it that aren't ideal for you. And so that can shift and shape the algorithm into a way that may end up actually driving you away from the people that you're trying to connect with. So you don't
Hmm.
want an entire account that is purely made to go viral, if that makes sense. It's also important to
I
just
love that.
have very little of that in there.
I love that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because a lot of times people are chasing the virality of their content, but it is a double-edged sword, and it's exactly what you talked about. One
Yeah,
of the things that I thought too, I kind of want to know what you think. So, Sean, both you and Sean talk about how your ideal client is a belief system. It's not
right.
necessarily just like a avatar, but it's a belief system. So I was thinking, well, what if you created content that was basically speaking to those belief systems? So if your ideal client believes that they should invest in their health by eating a certain way and exercising, basically if you were to embody those beliefs and have that come out through your content, if someone were to consume it, they're like, "Oh, I agree with that. I resonate with that." And that's the person who you're looking to build a relationship with through your content because it's a belief that then you can now kind of connect over. That was just
Yes.
kind of a thought I had. What do you think about that?
I love that. And that actually goes back to, though, it's that 80-20 rule that we always talk about, right? Like, so 20% of it is like direct teaching about the food and the exercise. The other 80% is trying to connect with them on that. That's what you said. It's a belief system. So, how do you connect with them on the belief system? So, that connection comes through you showcasing your personal belief system of, man, I believe that exercise is vitally important. But hey, I'm human too. And sometimes I fall off the wagon. Sometimes it's really hard for me to get back into working out. Hey, so what do you guys do when you have trouble working out? You know, a lot of times that first workout for me is so difficult and I am struggling afterwards, but I know it was worth it. Like, what do you do? Like, so also the belief system needs to be believable. And that comes
Mm,
through showcasing who you are and the essence of you in that. It's not just teaching about exercise and perfect exercise moves, right? So people are
mm,
asking about that. What you need to do is it's really that 80-20, 80% I'm creating trust and credibility and connection, showcasing who I am and what I believe, and connecting with them over what they believe. And the other 20% is actually talking about it in a factual way.
mm. Yes, I
Yeah.
love that.
Love
Well,
it. I love it. Great questions. You know what I love? I love giving away money. What about you?
Yes, I
Do you
do.
believe that somebody's going to win tonight?
I do. I don't know what my like all-time record is, but I feel like the times I've produced, I've given away money more times than I have not. So
Oh.
when James is on the on the sounds and the production, it's better odds for the group. So
And on the flip side of that, I think Patty Ice, he doesn't ever pull a winner. No? So
no.
like he when Pat is on the sounds and the production, guaranteed no winner, the pot's gonna get higher. Pat's the pot builder. He builds the pot to a bigger he's
The patty pot.
the patty pot. Pat Pat the pot builder Kimball. All right. So Pat was on last week. Nobody won last week. So that means we're giving away $400. Let's see if James' belief system around giving away money is actually legit tonight. Who's ready to win? Say, I believe. Pat never
I
pays.
believe.
Pat never
Pat
pays
never.
Kimball.
I never pay.
I love it. Let's go. All right,
All right,
everybody. Let's
here
get
we
that
go.
first name going.
Oh, Lance
Ooh, Lance
Zudema.
Suedina.
I did.
Lance. All right. You got that timer going?
I do. I did see Skip's name in there.
You saw
I
Skip's
saw.
name go by?
I saw
See?
Skip's name go by.
And last week, Nate was like, my name's not in there. I've never, ever seen it. And then he saw it last night. So, or last week. So for all y'all, maybe you need to proclaim, I've never seen my name. So you can see your name, that it is in the digital canasta. Oh, Lance.
Oh
Missed
man.
you. Lance missed out on the full $100. But that means 3 more opportunities are on deck.
3 more.
James, give us another name.
Here we go.
No pay Patty. I love it.
Lily.
Oh, Lily DeSimone.
Lily. She has
Lily is
definitely
on here
won
sometimes.
before.
And James shows up. Like, you know, like he gets in here too and he shows up. So Lily. I see Paul screaming for Lily. All right. 11 seconds left on the clock. Lily, claim your $400. These are all real people, real names in the digital canasta.
Yeah.
Aw. All right.
Oh man, I
right.
started the Jeopardy late, but Lily has won before. I
really?
definitely remember that. She has definitely won before.
Look at that. And she got called again.
Got called again.
See? She has. Paul
Crazy
confirmed
girl.
she has won. All right, there's two more chances. We might break Jamesy's winning giving streak tonight. No pay Patty transfers the energy into week number 2. Well, that means next week we'd be giving away $500. But let's see who we got on name number 3. Ready? Pull the trigger.
Here we go.
Oh, did you see? Alika. Oh my God. Okay, first off, Alika's on here sometimes. For sure.
I have seen.
For sure.
I have seen.
For sure. Huh?
I have seen, yes. I don't know about tonight, but I have
Did you
seen him
see
on.
that thing almost stop on James's name? I know. I just saw that, Aaron. That was wild. Literally, it almost stopped on James's name. That it like paused. It like had a glitch, and it was like, keep going. And it picked Alika. Oh, Alika. All right.
Oh man, that was close.
Yeah, that was wild. I saw that too. I saw that. All right. We
got
got one more
chance.
shot. We got one more time.
Come on, digital canasta.
Come on, digital canasta. What do you think, Dinky? What do you think, little guy? Ready?
Ready.
Go. Ooh, I don't know Steve yet.
Steven Schaaf. Hey, we had a bunch of people come in to be
I know.
BIS over the past couple weeks, so Maybe, but I don't know.
Steve,
Let's
are
see
you
if
on?
Steve's here.
Because you're right. I literally, we probably had another, 50 to 100 names go in the Digital Canasta because of the Book Yourself Solid Network and the Book Yourself Solid Challenge. You know what?
Yes.
That doesn't even sound like a fake name, James. He says, you don't know him because it's fake. I don't even know, like, how would we make these names up? Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Listen, people, I know that you don't believe your name is in there, but like Nate said last week, my name is not in there. And then he saw it. It's the way the cookie crumbles with the Digital Canasta. I can't guarantee how it's all going to pan out, but somehow No Pay Patty transferred the energy from last week so that we could roll the pot up Rue James into $500 next week. But you know what happens?
500.
When the pot gets bigger, more people show, right? Which,
It's true.
I mean, we like it because we are delivering killer content. So I hope that at least tonight you guys came up with some ways, some ideas to start some content. But more importantly, a lot of people don't start content because they feel like they don't have the right tools, the things that they need. Well, we gave you the most perfect asset you could have and carry around with you to capture content on the daily without having to think about it, capture your life and utilize that. I think between the microphones and Descript, you have no excuse on not getting content out this year in 2024. So make sure that you guys get it together. You get that content rolling. Start with just posts if you want to, but make sure as a service provider, you move into getting comfortable so that people can connect with you. You can showcase that belief system, and then you can capture them into engaging with you and your service. So, all right, everybody, we super love and appreciate you. Thanks, James, for being my special guest on
Of
Just
course.
Lacy Live tonight. I super appreciate you, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week for $500.